for watching. Welcome back. As we all know that Egypt's overpopulation problem is no secret, and the country's population increases annually by 2.5% and is expected to reach 151 million people by the year 2050. And according to Campus, the population reached 96.3 million in early 2018, and as we earlier said, that we'll be talking more about the problem of overpopulation and its direct effect over the process of development. And we're very delighted to be having a dear guest with us live here in the studio, Dr. Vivian Morcos. She's a political analyst and a news commentator. Good morning, Dr. Morcos.
Good morning.
And welcome back.
Thank you. It's a
welcome
pleasure.
to Egypt. And first, let us define the overpopulation, the term overpopulation to people. When we say that country is overpopulated, what do we mean?
Well, when you say overpopulated, it's self-explanatory. There's a population that shouldn't exceed a certain number, but there is a lot over that number.
So the number is bigger than the area and bigger than the needs.
It's not bigger than the area, because Egypt has a very big...
than the area that is inhabited.
But the inhabited area and the area where always the population target living next to it is the Nile. And all the rest is desert. No one will go in the desert. But now, of course, the president is making a lot of efforts in developing the desert in order to create new areas for the overpopulation. He's finding solutions for everyone. So when you are concentrating around the Nile, there are a lot of things that happens during that. And when you speak about overpopulation, there are a lot of problems that are parallel to that are food security. When you are overpopulated.
And job opportunities.
And job opportunity. But usually people live on two things: food and water, before you start anything. So you're around the Nile, and we know that all the Egyptians have a very low use of water, 400 cubic meters of water per person, which is already, according to the world standard, is a very low rationing for the people. So if you are 100 person, you are 400 cubic meters. If you're going to be 200, this can be reduced, because we know that there are problems about water, there are problems about the dam, there are problems about the ecological change in life, the disappearance of the delta, because everybody is building in agricultural land. Every peasant who is working in the land, he's building a house for him and for his children in these land. So there are a lot of things that eats up the reason of being alive and having a healthy population. Land. And when you build on this land, you just destroy the source of food, which will create later a food crisis.
And also destroy the environment.
And destroy the environment, but maybe people are not aware of the environment as much as their daily food and drinking and living. So when you say overpopulated, you have to make an alert, and the president has been alerting people so many times. We should not have a lot of birth, not because he doesn't like children, because he knows that the resources that we have...
Because these are the norms. The reason I talked about breaching the rights of environment or violating the rights of environment, because I wanted to point out to the fact that there is a direct impact with overpopulation and climate change.
Of course.
Because it violates the rights of the environment that causes climate change. And one of the priorities of the 17 SDGs or the vision for 2030 and the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals is on top of them is the climate change, combating or fighting climate change.
And when
we're going to be talking about it later.
When you eliminate the agriculture land, you affect a lot the climate change. Because
you're breaking the ecosystem and violating and disturbing the biological balance, and it's a long story.
It is.
But then we need to know first the root problems the roots for this problem is that the root cause for overpopulation. What are the main causes for overpopulation?
Well, there are cultural causes. There are normal causes for everyday. A lot of in the country they let their daughter marry at a very young age. And not only girls and boys, they get married very early. When you get married early, you have a lot of children. That's one of the reasons, because for the mentality of
it's not complete yet. Maturity is not complete.
Not just that, because they say, oh, we have a girl, we have to protect her, let her get married very fast so we are happy and she is saved from anything. And it's so this is a very important cause of the problem. And as well, you have the culture of the religious culture does not encourage contraception. So if sometimes in the church or in the mosque they're against contraception to stop the birth, but you can do it in so many ways, not affecting the religious. If you have a child, the abortion right and all that, it's forbidden and all that. So all these things make, well, at the end of the day, you'll have extra population that is not planned, that you don't want. The worst thing for a good president is to have an overpopulation, and because he is generous, in all the countries of the world, people work to eat and all that. Here there are subsidies in the card, the tamween, the subsidies. Every family take food, take things to help. So when you have an overpopulation, these subsidies become enormous that you cannot deal with. And it's one of the only countries in the world that gives subsidies to normal people, because some countries give subsidies to elderly people, subsidies to young people, but here you give subsidies, the president and the country give subsidies to a very big portion of the population. And it's a weight. So the more you have, the more there will need, the more there will be added, and it becomes, the resources are not equitably given to everyone. Because if you have 100 hectares of wheat and you're feeding 100 persons, that's all right. And if you're feeding 1,000 persons, that's not all right. And because, so there are a lot of problems that arise from overpopulation, cause problems. That's why there is always alerts. We have to stop birth. Not to stop, we have to make reasonable. We have to have only two children. There are so many ways.
Right, but you know what? There is a need, actually. One of the ways to sort out this problem is awareness, setting awareness campaign, and trying to find means to control this particular problem and try to curb it, or at least recognizing it on the first place and addressing it. And as we all know, it's not only a problem in Egypt. India is overpopulated. Is overpopulated, and it's the #1 economic country. Japan is overpopulated also.
But China has rules to stop things, and the population abide to rules.
Right.
You have a population here that is a very obstinate population.
That's why it has to be formulated. It has to be addressed. There is nothing wrong to have a problem, but much more worse, with the thing that would make it much more worse is that you not recognize it, and then you do not address it the right way.
It has been addressed for a long time. Remember the film Afwahan Aranib for Fatin Hamama. So many things, so many ways of addressing that, but the population does not accept. That's a very important.
So do you think it's a problem of a culture?
It's a culture problem, because you are aware, or the doctors are aware, that you have to have contraception. The president is having some clinics to help ladies to get over the fertility problem, because we must say as well, which is something very good, that our population, Egyptian population, is a better population. You know, it's something that's a gift of God, because a lot of other countries don't have this fertility. So you have to have it controlled to have a population that will serve the country to go ahead. Maybe you can have some control for some time, and then after that people can be relaxed when everything gets better. But to get the people to accept that, that's not easy. That is not easy. So schools, films, I mean, the only thing now that may affect and may reach everyone to try and convince them of the fact of having 2 children is much better for them and for the family and for the country and for everything, is through social media, because everyone is on social media. Not even television, you know. It's social media now. I think there should be some targeting advertising through social media to try and convince people of the good things about having only a limited number of children in a family to a certain time. After that, because the country as well is developing, is being developed in a very fast way. And everybody's working in Egypt. A lot of people are working. So that's a good thing. So in the future, if we keep up the pace of development as we are doing, it will be fine, because we need more people at a certain time. But maybe not now, because all the buildings that are happening now, there's a lot of factories, a lot of roads, a lot of that. This to help is to get ready for the population. Because everybody's thinking, why are they building all these roads? Because the provision of the population is going to be so, and so we're going to be. It's a far ahead vision for solving the problems of the overpopulation, what's happening
Exactly.
now.
And let me take it from you, let me build on what you're saying, because this is one of the best solutions, creating solutions or seeking solutions to root out this serious problem. Like you kindly mentioned that President Abdel Fattah Sisi have been working tooth and nail, trying to expand the areas where population could be living, not only inside cities but outside, and housing units being built everywhere, the new Alamein, 1.5 million Fadan, and the infrastructural projects and all that, in order to be rooting out this problem. If you like to elaborate.
I think some of the youth are getting a bit informed. There is a better desire to know what's happening now among the youth, because it's the only way to tackle the problem. There are some, like the ENA in France, there are a base like this here in Egypt to form youth, to be the leaders, to be able to convey this message to the youth of the same age and all that, and the same way of thinking. So you are trying to find a solution to limit this problem and to encourage people to go to, for instance, to the desert, to Sinai. We know that very soon we'll be going to have a very big city in Sinai. And the president is encouraging 3 million people to go and move to Sinai. So you need a motivation for the children, and you need a courage of the children to go, the youth to go and live there and start a new life. But again, the fact we are attached to the Nile. Everybody's attached to water, to the Nile. The Nile itself is a big
people are simply attached to livelihoods. whenever they could find a job opportunity, a good job opportunity, in a convenient way, they would go. And this is what the president is doing right now,
You know,
providing people with good job opportunities.
The solar panel.
Like the logistic zone, for example, in the new Suez Canal, it opened job opportunities, like
And
the new administrative capital, for example.
The solar panel plant in Aswan, it had maybe 6,000 person working there. And
The
they
new
were very
Alamein.
happy there. And New Alamein and everywhere. I mean, so the youth has to be adventurous, to go to new areas and form new life and form new way of helping them to sustain their life. Because this overpopulation is eating up everything. So unless you go and you're going to have a new city, new areas with the water under the water from الآبار,
the wells.
the wells. You will have to make a lot of effort. So you'll go and create life in there. It needs a lot of courage from
Of course,
everyone.
that's very much true. But also, we do not have to lay it over the shoulders of the president. All of it is not a one-man show. But we also, several sectors have to be involved, like the governmental sectors, like the civil society, like also the media, like other
It has
fronts.
to be a big campaign.
So, where do you see the role of some sectors in the country, in the nation? If you like to talk about other fronts who should be involved and share in rooting out this problem, from your own point of view.
First thing is schools.
Schools, the foundation.
Yeah, the foundation, because if you build a child and teach him how life is with so many persons in a house and just 2 children in a house, you just build up a population that is aware of all the positive and negative things of overpopulation. And you'll be sure that when they grow up, they will not have more than 2 children. But this needs real good program planning for the students, for the children, and universities, of course. Media, of course. You have even to consecrate a whole channel for that, just that, a whole day long, because maybe someone will want to watch and he is not free, and to repeat just one channel to tackle this problem, and have speakers about all the positive, all the negative things, just one channel. Create a new channel about overpopulation effects, overpopulation effects. So children that can talk in it, adults, and all sectors of the society. So you will have someone who will listen to that some time of the day. So it's not just a program that no one can watch, for instance. So I think it needs some investment, but at the end of the day, you will be having some results, positive results out of it.
And also, from what I understand, that not only overpopulation is not good for the economy and for the course, it would affect the course of sustainable development, but also for the health of the mother or women. So which would bring us to the role of the Ministry of Health in setting awareness campaigns to warn the families, because giving birth to a lot of children would deprive you of the calcium in your body and other defects.
Yeah, it's not
health defects in your body.
You cannot cope with everybody. If a mother who has 2 children or 3 or even 4, it's not the same like having 10 in the house. And you don't have sometimes big houses to have.
Even if you have money, even if you have resources, you do not have to have more than 2 babies. It's just for health problems. But also the role of the media. You talked about the role of the media, and you focused over the importance of setting awareness campaigns on TV channels or establishing an exclusive TV channel for population.
Yes, yes. Because not everyone would understand what does it mean overpopulation. Why is it bad? Because no, it's not bad. People are not convinced. You have to convince them one way or another. So in China, as I said before, there are rules. At a certain time, they stopped birth more than one child. Now they went back to having 2 children or more. They, for a long time, they only had 11% of growth population. Here in 160 days, we had 250,000. 60 days. This is inconceivable. No country in the world can manage the richest countries. Because what you have, that's the main food. And with the problem of water, we don't grow rice as much as before. So we will have a food crisis, a food security crisis, if we do not stop this overpopulation.
Right.
It's as simple as that. People should know that clearly. They should understand. All the resources, they cannot cope with all the increase in this population.
On this note, Dr. Vivian Morcos, you are a political and an economic analyst. Thank you very much for coming over to the Breakfast Show. It has been a real pleasure having you once more again back, and you have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And we're going to go to a short break, and we'll come to continue the Breakfast Show, so stay with us.